Welcome back to Anime Death Spiral, the only anime podcast to survive the great podcast purge of 2023. I'm Nate, and as always, I'm here with my preferred cocktail, a mix of Baileys and Coca-Cola, garnished with a candy cigarette.
Jesus Christ.
Remy, it's the new year, 2024. How you feeling about anime?
Pretty bad. Nothing new on that front. Still feeling pretty bad about anime.
Has not changed in general demeanor.
Still pretty much in the doomsaying camp. Feels like everything is getting worse every year. Anime is no exception. I guess putting a silver lining on it, that means the anime we're watching now is the best anime there's ever going to be.
That's true.
If everything is always going to get worse forever, then the stuff you're watching right now is the golden age.
Oh, God.
Nothing will ever just end. It will always just lurch slowly into the grave. I mean, we see it in every corner of our culture right now.
And, okay, so then what if God showed up and offered to just make all that better by putting you in a different world?
God is a fascist. I would never let an omnipotent being control my destiny. I've played so many JRPGs. What is the only lesson those games teach you?
God's a dick and you should cast him down.
Yeah, God's a piece of shit and you need to destroy him.
Well, actually, no. The first statement is that God is like a weird fucked up bundle of lights or dragon parts or eyes or something. Usually is that God's freaky looking.
Of course. He's gotta be. I mean, you don't want him to just be a dude, right? I mean, that's what people hated about the Matrix. Turned out to be Colonel Sanders.
God was Colonel Sanders.
Yeah. People were pretty pissed off about that.
And he didn't even have any fucking chicken.
He had an infinite number of worlds wherein he made fried chicken.
Yeah, I was trying to segue into something about this stupid isekai anime that I watch, but now I'm just thinking about how stupid the fucking Matrix is.
I love the Matrix. Truly, look, what an absolute fucking golden classic. Proving my point. It's we're never going to see the like again.
Well, The Matrix 4 kind of proved that, right?
I mean, it's divisive, but personally, I thought it was absolute trash.
I didn't see it. I never
did not like it.
I think I'm in agreement with Lily Wachowski that this movie should not have been made.
It should not. I mean, there's the fun part of it, and it is better than any John Wick movie. I'll give it that. Because it has an actual conceptual thrust. Then the conceptual thrust is super interesting and unique because it's a movie that is about how the movie it is should not exist, which is great. That's a really good conceit. Hey, the movie you're watching right now shouldn't be a thing, and the fact that you're watching it is in itself moral decay. That's fucking kick ass.
I like that concept.
Rules.
That's kind of what I was hoping to get out of it. That's kind of my feeling about it to begin with. But now you also said it was trash, though.
Yeah, the problem is that the movie is mostly boring. It spends a lot of time just doing nothing. And then there's a lore dump. And it's that is by far the last thing I absolutely needed out of a Matrix movie.
I mean, do you think it was made boring on purpose?
I mean, it could be. It might have been entirely sabotaged. I mean, that's a great theory about that movie.
It's a bit forgiving, I'll say, but maybe the Wachowskis deserve some grace at this point. They did give us Bound.
They're incredible.
All right, let's talk about some anime. Can we pivot back to some anime?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I kind of want to talk about John Wick, but since you brought it up, but we could talk about anime.
I watched some anime. Surprising, I know.
Did you bring up the Matrix because it's an isekai?
I was trying to bring up Isekai earlier about God taking you out of this horrible year. But yeah, Isekai Matrix works. I watched the first premiere of the year from our list that we talked about.
Getting a jump on it.
Yeah, I thought I'd get ahead of the curve on this one. And I went and watched Fluffy Paradise, which is a much more insidious anime than the title would lead you to believe. Well, first of all, it's one of the rare isekai that has a female protagonist that isn't purely in that villainous subgenre that we've talked about before.
It's not a villainous.
It's not a villainous one. It is a straight up isekai, and not even like a nice one if we're getting into it, because it
What
like
does that,
many.
Wait, hold on. What does that mean?
Well, okay, so
What do you mean a nice one?
none of them are nice. That was a wrong term.
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
What I'm saying is that it doesn't really sugarcoat the circumstances under which the series takes place. There's some isekai, kind of like I got a super good skill in another world and it made me better in my world, or whatever that one was called, where
Sure.
where nothing explicitly. I mean, yeah, the kid gets bullied, but he doesn't die or anything. He doesn't get murdered. And he just kind of finds the portal to another world. Kind of like Digimon, thing like that, whisked away, spirited away stuff.
Sure.
No, this one is about a haggard, tired, broken down office lady who is 27, and oh my God, she's single. I know. And she spends all of her time working, and the very first scene in the series is her collapsing and dying in her doorway from exhaustion. She overworks herself to death. and God, who is a hot anime dude, takes pity on her horrible existence and reincarnates her into another world. And first off, I want to point out that one of the weirder details that this show sets up about its whole cosmology is that God says right off the bat, is like, oh, hey, there's this dimension where humans are causing a whole bunch of trouble. And I think that if you went in there and did some good, it would be really cool. And that brings up a lot of questions for me. Like, first of all, one God is in charge of multiple realities. It posits.
Well, is he really in charge? It sounds like he let one of them kind of get away from him.
Well, that's the other point I was going to bring up, is that not only is this God in charge of multiple realities, he has ones that he favors over others.
Well, how many? How many is he in charge of?
We don't know. It's not explicitly stated.
He doesn't clarify?
He just says, oh, hey, here's a reality where I think that you could be useful because humans are being racist to all of the animal people.
Okay.
And so part of the deal is that he asks her, like, all right, I'm going to reincarnate you. You're going to be born as a little baby, and you're going to have your choice of cheat skill. He gives her a choice. Anything you want. Whatever it is, I'll make that your power, your secret skill.
Anything?
Anything. Blank check. Full admin access. And do you know what she chooses?
Speak to animal.
No, although that would have been, like, infinitely more useful in pretty much every situation that has come up in the first episode.
Wow.
It's close. It's adjacent to that. Her skill is that she is irresistibly adorable to any non-humans, any non-human being.
Why not humans too? That seems like a really big advantage.
That's not the way she worded it. She said, I want to be irresistible to animals because my parents' cat never let me pet it.
Wow, what a loser.
I know.
You ever notice that what gets called gods in a lot of these stories, especially in anime, are really more just like genies?
Yeah. I mean, they're wish givers. They are
extraordinarily powerful tricksters who are otherwise bound by the narrative into a helpless position wherein they need to use humans to accomplish their goals. That's not a god. I mean, that's a genie.
I think part of it is that, like a genie, they are bound by some cosmological bureaucracy, right? That we're not really privy to. Or sometimes we are, like in Yu Yu Hakusho, the afterlife is just a straight up government building. But yeah, they're genies, more or less. Sometimes they're hot genies, so that's a plus.
Yeah, sometimes they're hot. In my experience, most of the time, they're not hot. A lot of times, they're just like a disembodied voice. A lot of times, it's your typical old man. Every once in a while, it's like a creature, which is kind of better. I like that approach better.
Creatures are cool.
Creatures are cool.
I like creatures more than Hot Jesus, which is what Fluffy Paradise decided to go with.
Okay.
They had long hair, beardless Hot Jesus, if that makes any sense.
Sure.
So that's the starting off point. She has a heart attack at 27 and gets reincarnated with the power to make anything non-human be friends with her.
My God, she's the Pied Piper.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of trouble she could get up to. It's a good thing that her intentions are pure. She gets reborn as the third daughter of a kind of middling aristocrat, a duke of something or other. First of all, I guess it's one of those isekai. Where do you stand on retaining your adult memories as a little baby?
Well, this is obviously one of the main branches of isekai, is the start over as a baby. In concept, it is probably more interesting to me. It's obviously like insanely gross and weird. Like that is an extraordinarily uncomfortable situation to find yourself in. And it would just straight up like suck for years and years until you develop the physical and mental capabilities to like resume agency over your life.
Not for this chick. She's into it.
She likes being a baby.
Yeah, no, she fully commits to being a little kid and a little baby growing up in every sense. But we, the audience, are privy to her adult inner monologue throughout this entire time.
Of course.
And so that leads to kind of a weird disparity in when she's just kind of like, existing within scenes with her family or with other people, and when like something narrative needs to happen, and suddenly she's this little kid jumping into incredibly dangerous situations to like try and talk down a dragon or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at. That's Fluffy Paradise.
Wow.
1 episode is out, people. Don't watch it. Don't go down that path. There's nothing there for you there.
Yeah, great. Why did you even choose to watch that?
Because it was the first it's the first release of the new year, and I wanted to see, kind of like an omen reading almost. I wanted to see what 2024 had in store for us, which I guess that coupled with the earthquake and the plane fire in Tokyo, not great signs so far.
Okay, so you tossed the bones and yeah. You wanted to see where they'd lay.
What about you? What have you
Well,
watched?
I'm not particularly interested in the future, as I said before. I'd rather...
You're looking in the past.
Yeah. I went backwards. Not really sure why. This is something that I've actually had kind of floating around for a while, but just never had the will to actually dive into it because of its ridiculously complex lineage. But I did start watching Kara no Kyoukai, the Garden of Sinners. Are you familiar with this?
Is it like a series of movies or something?
It more breaks down to like hour-long episodes in sort of a Netflix style. Except that there's a very long time between each episode.
I see.
Yes, and this was something that you would have come across eventually if you had stuck with the Fate series. Kara no Kyoukai is by the same author who worked on Fate and Tsukihime, if you know that one. Are you familiar with that?
It sounds familiar, but the plot isn't jumping to mind at the moment.
Yeah, there's lots of visual novel stuff.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Fate and Tsukihime are, insanely popular. These are things that it's impossible to get away from. Fate more than Tsukihime in my experience, but these are juggernauts in the visual novel space and in the subsequent reincarnations like this anime. Garden of Sinners is sort of the lesser of the three. It's set in sort of a parallel universe, but it doesn't have quite as many of the fantastical elements of those other two.
Okay.
It's more like...
but there is like a solid connection between them.
Yes, there are, recurring characters and themes, and I guess you could say a similar magic system, though that seems dismissive and reductive. But it is essentially more ponderous ghost stories our main characters, through the machinations of fate, end up as ghost hunters, kind of a little bit, in like a detective agency for the supernatural, you know?
Doesn't that always happen?
It just keeps happening. If you graduate from high school, but you don't know what major you want to go into, you just end up as a spirit detective. That seems to be the rule. This is a really weird one. This is done by UFO Table. I will not call it UFO Table or whatever the fuck people want to call it. It is UFO Table. If you want to blame somebody, blame them. And its format as like a series of like hour-long episodes is really interesting because it gives them a lot of time to polish the hell out of each of these episodes. And it shows. These episodes look fucking great. And not just the animation, but like they're really well directed. Yeah, I know it's not quite as clean as calling somebody the DP on an anime, the director of photography. But basically, the DP is having a extremely good time with this series. There are lots of really interesting shots. The action direction is really great. There's like just really, really beautiful scenes. Unfortunately, like the thing that turns me off to a lot of Japanese visual novels and a lot of...
Are you about to say perv shit?
No, not the perv shit. Obviously, I've worked through the perv shit in many different cases. No.
I can tolerate the perv shit.
Yeah, I could tolerate the perv shit. I mean, if I didn't, I wouldn't watch anime. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, no, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Everybody does. It's basically the first skill check when you approach anime. It's like, can you deal with the perv shit? Yes, no.
I mean, the answer for most normal people is no.
Yeah, it's like, nah.
All right, so what is Garden of Sinners about, though?
Garden of Sinners is pretty perv-free for the most part. They don't really do a lot of that stuff. It happens to end on the other spectrum where this is the thing that I don't like too much in my anime is lots of like pseudo-analytical, like ponderous philosophical bullshit. And these episodes are just filled with that. It's kind of a shame because if the writing was stronger, like it would match up with how interesting the direction is. Lots of like long ponderous shots, a really patient camera with a really good eye for like scene composition and like just beautiful imagery. Mm-hmm. But then it's always paired up with characters talking about just absolute bullshit. What it means to be alive and what it means to take your own life. The first episode is all about suicide. And so it's lots of characters going like, well, what does it mean to kill yourself and die? And the characters have these like really ridiculous conversations, very early 2010s. And I really don't like it because it is all freshman college level philosophy that I just absolutely hate. And this is something that comes up in a lot of visual novels, you know? I don't want to be dismissive, but it's a lot of people writing their first story and not having an editor to tell them like when to knock off the fucking drudgery of their like philosophical ponderings.
It's like kind of like the never write your first movie about an assassin kind of thing.
Yeah, I feel like this really is kind of unique to anime, and I think it has a lot to do with something like the titans of anime being like Ghost in the Shell. The thing is about Ghost in the Shell is it does a lot of its philosophical pondering without dialogue. It uses a lot of pauses in the action to speak for themselves. That goes away by the second movie.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's not exactly what I remember about Ghost in the Shell 2. I remember there being a lot of people standing around philosophizing.
Yes, Ghost in the Shell 2 is very verbose, unfortunately. I just find that stuff crops up a lot as anime has got along. For this kind of stuff, it's just interesting that it can't shut up and get out of its own way to tell an interesting story. It has to kind of like try to play all these like all like pseudo literary tricks on you. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that Garden of Sinners Kara no Kyoukai does in that way is it tries to tell its story non-linearly. So these episodes are all set in different time periods in the characters' lives.
Okay.
Kind of slowly unraveling how they relate to each other, kind of piece by piece, which is, I could tolerate that. That's fine, as long as the stories themselves are kind of self-contained.
Sure.
And they, for the most part, are. But yeah, the philosophizing is just really fucking annoying. And it really makes me not want to watch the rest of them. But the animation is so good. And the direction is so good that I'm sticking with it.
Okay.
It's
Okay, let me ask you this. On a scale of Colonel Sanders to cute anime girl, which would you rather see philosophizing?
Oh, Colonel Sanders. 100%. Absolutely. Far less banal and self-important.
See, I was leaning towards anime girl. I was saying they should do an edit of those Matrix movies where they take him out and have like Hatsune Miku put in there as the architect.
As your voice of God. Who do you prefer? That's what you mean?
Yeah.
Having the anime girl do it is really good in one way, unless you take it seriously, and then it's very bad.
What was it? Garden of Sinners. How many movies or long episodes you said are there?
I think if you count kind of the peripheral stuff, it seems like there's 11.
Okay. I mean, that's a pretty good amount.
Yeah, maybe 7 of the main story, and then 4 more kind of supplemental pieces. These visual novels are usually like branching, that's kind of a standard feature of visual novels, is they have multiple paths.
Sure.
So capturing them in anime is sometimes a little hard.
That never occurred to me because visual novel stuff has never really been in my interests. The closest I've gotten would be like the Phoenix Wright games. But those have like a level of interactivity with them that I feel like most of these kind of dating ones or whatever, or the Fate series maybe does not, where they are just straight narrative paths.
Yeah, you would be surprised, my friend. You would be surprised. Don't be so dismissive of an entire genre that you know little about, because there is a hell of a lot of variety in there. If you want visual novels with gameplay, there are visual novels with gameplay. You don't have to be a fucking reading simulator.
Okay, I was unaware.
Yeah. We live in the future, man. Dating sims have gameplay now.
Well, no shit.
Yeah. Join us in 2024.
Well, okay, with that, then you can kind of apply whatever gameplay you want to the playing sections and then just sprinkle, the narrative reading choice stuff in between. At what point does one overtake the other in classification? I guess. At what point does it stop being a visual novel and it's just like an RPG?
Well, you tell me. It's hard to draw those distinctions, right?
Well, it's like, okay, but then would you consider like the older Final Fantasies or other, and I don't say this in a bad way, but like derivative JRPG stuff? Would you consider that a visual novel, right? Because you have characters talking to each other in text on a screen back and forth.
Yes, but do they have the character profile image? No.
I mean, sometimes they do.
Sometimes.
Okay, like Persona or Digital Devil Saga. Like, at what point do those just become visual novels?
If you took out the fucking grindy-ass dungeon crawling from most Persona games, they would pretty much be visual novels.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of, Persona 3 Reloaded coming out in 2024. Something to look forward to. Finally, a ray of sunshine.
I've always meant to go back and replay Persona 3 because it was one of the few games that I bought for myself on the PS2 instead of getting it as like a gift or whatever for Christmas or my birthday. And I remember being so disappointed with my purchase because I was bad at playing it.
Yeah, you didn't know how to play it.
I had no idea what Persona was. I picked it up, again, based entirely on box art. That was not the first time that had happened to me. And I didn't understand the connection between the real world life sim stuff and the grindy stuff. And I didn't understand that, like, oh, they are serious when it says the game ends at the end of the school year. So I got a game over by getting to the end of the school year without ever having completed the first dungeon because I just didn't like doing the grindy stuff.
Yeah, we've talked about this. It's very funny.
Maybe I'll go back and give it another shot. That's all I'm saying.
I would. Persona's games fucking kick ass.
We talk about some anime. Let's keep talking about anime.
Yeah, fine, whatever.
This is another one that I watched kind of as the other component of my fortune-telling ritual. I watched Burn the Witch. It's prequel episodes, TV special, whatever you want to call it. One of the last, if not the last, anime episode put out in 2023, December 31st. And so I went and I watched that, and I watched the 3-part original special that came out in 2020, I think. Mm-hmm. In 2020, the first Burn the Witch 3-part special was an adaptation of a Taite Kubo one-shot comic that he did.
Yeah.
Why do you keep saying it like that?
I just think it's funny that your project for 2024 is getting back into Bleach. That's very funny to me.
Oh, no. I guess the kind of, I don't even know if you can call it a twist, but the twist at the end of the anime is that it is a Bleach tie-in. Although, by what I watch, I have no idea how this is connected to Bleach in any way. This is about two main characters, Nina and Nihei are their names, and they are essentially dragon slayers, is what they call themselves. So the premise is that it takes place in Front London. And it's called Front London because there is a reverse London, kind of a Hogwarts-esque situation, Wizarding World thing, right?
Yeah, or an un-London.
Yeah, an un-London, and the underground, the other side, London. And in that London, dragons exist.
It's the only difference.
Yeah.
Everything else is exactly the same.
I don't even know when they supposedly cross in between the two. There is very little indication as to when that happens. But essentially, our two main characters are part of a society that is in charge of hunting down dragons and stopping them from killing regular people in Front London. If this sounds like Soul Society and the Hollows from Soul Society, it's exactly the same thing as Bleach, but with a Hello Governor twist on it.
Yeah, but also, like, dragons are cooler than Hollows.
It's true. Oh, that's 100% true. I think that this has more of a stylistic standpoint. It has more legs than Bleach ever did, if we're going into it. The only thing that I don't like are the designs of the main characters' weapons. It's very murky on the whole lore setup of the society, and I don't really care that much. But for some reason, our main characters carry around little, almost toy-sized trumpets or horns or whatever you want to call them. They're really nothing more than a metallic curve that tapers into a opening on one end. But the thing that makes it cool is that they can turn them around. They can hold them like guns and shoot stuff out of them too. So this is once again an example of a great anime tradition where the main character's power is just gun.
Yeah, you come across two kinds of guns in anime and manga, and it's like the extremely overly detailed kind where you could tell like the author has been fantasizing about them for a while, and then the just completely ridiculous abstract ones where there's like, hey, it's just a thing that like throws stuff really fast.
Yeah.
There's nothing in between.
The other thing is that, like, dragons are bad and regular people can't see them. It also, for some reason, throws out the absolutely wild statistic at the beginning of the movie, of the special, saying that 72% of all deaths in London are attributed to dragons, both seen and unseen.
Wait, how many?
72%.
That seems high.
Do you think anyone tried to tell him that, like, dude, 72% doesn't make any sense.
I mean, I think it's funnier that way. I think if you're just gonna throw out a number, it should be like, yeah, dragons kill like almost everyone in London, like everybody who dies. Like they just say it's muggers or whatever, but it's dragons.
Well, no, that's the thing. That's what I thought, but they make it explicit that both the people in Front London and Magic London, Harry Potter London,
Harry Potter land,
everyone is aware of the existence of dragons and that they cause daily natural disasters that apparently add up to 72% of the deaths in the city, except only the people in Front London can't see them.
Terrifying. Why would you continue to live in London if that was the case?
Well, it's wild that these people just live in a society where the government says that dragons are lurking around every corner, and you just have to trust us when you say that we need extrajudicial powers over you to keep them in line. Wouldn't it be horrifying to live in a society like that?
You mean in an active war zone wherein the combatants are invisible to you?
Yeah.
But are nevertheless extremely destructive. I mean, that is a nightmare. The absolute bravado of continuing to live in London at that point. Just move, idiot.
In the first episode, there's a scene where a dragon is kind of rampaging, and we get the introduction to our two heroines and how they, operate. They are basically two parts of a Narusa Sakura, where the third guy in this case is a dumb himbo, which you don't see often, but you see sometimes, and I do like it. If I'm being honest, I like it when that happens. I think that's funny. So we got girl Naruto, girl Sasuke, and then the guy,
the man,
yeah, the dude. They're fighting this dragon, and it crashes into just some loser's house, and they just totally brush it off, like, oh, don't worry, call dragon insurance. So not only are they invisible, but the citizens are apparently reimbursed by some kind of socialized dragon insurance, dragon destruction insurance.
Are we sure that it is socialized? Because maybe it's private insurance.
Actually, you're right.
Yeah. If they don't explicitly say it, I would assume that all these assholes have to be paying for their own fucking invisible dragon insurance.
Just like they have to pay for a fucking TV license.
Yeah, yet again, like, move the fuck out. What are you doing? What are you trying to prove? I also have to say, like, what is the point of the dragons being invisible at that point? Like, narratively, what does that accomplish?
Well, it never comes up, so nothing, I guess, is the answer I would have to give you.
Yeah. Just, it seems like at that point that's vestigial from like a first draft of the story.
If I had to give it the benefit of the doubt, I think it's supposed to be kind of like an early clue that this is in the Bleach universe, and the dragons are somehow ancillary to the whole soul world that Bleach has already set up, right?
Yeah, but in Bleach, people don't get their houses blown up by hollows all the time.
Well, okay, yes. I think the biggest difference here is that in Bleach, no one knows about the soul world, whereas in this one, it's explicitly stated by the government that dragons are real, but they're invisible.
Yeah, it's fucking insane. What an insane concept. It's so weird.
I think another one of those details that should have been cut from the first draft is that one of our two main dragon fighter girls exists both as a dragon fighter in Magic World, in Reverse London, but she's also an incredibly popular idol and like model in regular London.
Yeah, sure.
And so she has like paparazzi that are always following her around. I think it was solely to do a gimmick where she can like ditch the paparazzi by jumping into a magic world door or whatever around a corner.
Yeah.
I think it was solely to accomplish that scene, and then after that, he had no idea what to do with that character or that aspect of her.
Yeah, the only version of that I like is Sweet Mask in One Punch. Well, I think that's very good.
Yeah, that's pretty good, yeah. So anyway, there's a lot of hanging ideas that get set up in this that I think were supposed to be explored in a season 2, which has not been announced to my knowledge. I don't know if this is ever getting a follow-up, but there's a lot that they introduce in these that just does not get followed up on. Zero context. Like the fact that the whole plot revolves around a government coup, essentially, of this one dude on the council of bigwig dragon fighters that wants to use one of her stalkers, essentially. Someone who like found a dragon and has been raising it secretly. And so he kind of coerces this person into attacking them as a distraction while he tries to take over the rest of the government. But it turns out that the dragon that this stalker lady had secretly been raising was one of the 7 legendary super dragons that's named after a Disney movie. In this case, this is the Cinderella dragon.
Cinderella dragon?
Yeah.
So this guy tries to do a false flag attack on real London using a Cinderella dragon?
Yep. Yes.
But the Cinderella dragon is too virtuous to do 9/11?
Well, no, the Cinderella dragon does the 9/11, full stop.
Okay, it does 9/11.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
But it turns out that it's more powerful than he anticipated. So now he has to switch sides and work with the heroines to kill it.
He does such a huge 9/11 that he actually has to...
he has to stop doing his coup.
Yeah, he has to reverse his coup. That's pretty good. Okay, sure. Why not?
By the way, none of them beat the dragon. The dragon just dies because it turns out that their boss is like even more super powerful than the legendary dragons, and he can just shoot a laser out of his hand that kills the dragons.
Right.
It's a
Dumbledore situation.
Well, no, it's more like if Dumbledore was pretending to be the school janitor, because our heroines are from like the super low ranked dragon fighting organization. They're not from one of the cool ones higher up in the hierarchy.
Oh, sure. Okay. So he's just slumming it.
Yeah, he's slumming it. He's smurfing, but he has super dragon killing powers. And so someone obliquely refers to him as the son of a hero, and that's kind of like the cold close on the series after we get the reveal that all of this was taking place. This mysterious government organization organizing all the dragon fighters is actually Soul Society West. And I guess that's just how they tie it into Bleach.
Yeah, just in the UK, they're just dragons instead of hollows.
Yeah.
And everybody knows about it because the Soul Society did such a bad job containing them that they just like run rampant every day.
Pretty much. No, you got it. That's it. There's one cool thing. There's one cool thing in this that I really liked, and that is that first dragon that they're fighting in the first episode. Like they cut off its head, and it full on has a Sekiro centipede coming out of the neck moment.
Dope.
Where it's being controlled by a giant kind of spirit frog thing that comes out of its decapitated neck hole. I thought that was cool. I like that.
Yeah.
So that's what I watched. I watched the last anime of 2023 and the first anime 2024.
Straddling the future and the past. I got you. Well, let me tell you this, because this is part of a project I think we're going to embark on soon. This is just one of my first forays into it. Kind of preliminarily started with the Blackjack stuff a while back, but in part of my masterpiece theater series for the podcast,
Criterion Collection.
Yes, wherein we together will be diving back into the history of anime to catch up on the legendary shows that somehow slipped past us, fill in the big gaps in our anime history. I watched Case Closed, Conan the Detective, Movie 6, The Phantom of Baker Street. Do you have any knowledge of Conan the Detective? Are you aware of this guy at all?
I'm aware of the broad concept. He was a famous detective a teen detective that got turned into a boy detective. And I guess for a while he was trying to turn back into a teen, but I'm not sure why he hasn't just grown up at this point.
Yes, I'm not sure either. It does seem like there is potentially something built into the weird magic chemical he got dosed with that prevents aging, possibly. I think that might be part of it.
Well, okay, what I'm wondering, what I have to assume is that this is just the time frame does not make sense, and it doesn't matter that it doesn't make sense because that's not the point. He is a boy detective, and he does boy detective adventure stuff. The other thing, which I don't think is the case, because again, I know very little about the series, I don't think that he's a perpetually young detective where all of the characters grow up around him. Because that would be a very different series than the vibe I get.
You know, I do not know. I do not know. This is part of the series that we are embarking. This is part of the mystery we're going to be unraveling of the long-running anime series. Who the fuck is Conan? What is his deal?
I mean, I know he wrote the best Simpsons episodes.
Yeah. We know he's a regular kid, a high school detective, sort of a Nancy Drew type. And during the course of one of his shenanigan adventures, the black organization force feeds him a dangerous drug that shrinks his body down into an elementary school child size. Now, his mind is unaltered, so he is almost an adult in the body of a child, which, as we kind of alluded to in the Isekai discussion, is hell.
Oh, yeah. No, I would hate it, personally.
He's forced to give up all of his relationships. He can't even let on that his parents are his parents, so he cuts all ties to everyone he knows, except his girlfriend, who doesn't know he's been turned into a child, but adopts him anyway. So now he is...
Wait, she adopts him?
Well, her dad adopts him. So he is living as her adopted brother. This is one of the weirder aspects of Conan.
Well, I don't like that.
Yeah, it's strange.
And he doesn't tell her that he's who he is. She just thinks that he's a smart little detective boy, and it's cool that he gets to live with her.
She is always constantly on the verge of putting the pieces together. Conan is not very subtle about it. Like, he slips up a lot.
Like, what if she just went over to his parents' house and looked at photos of when he was young and realized that it's the same fucking kid that lives with her?
She probably has. But, like, there's the mental block of, hey, in reality, no one, like, turns back into a child. You would have a hard time believing that, you know?
In reality, teens aren't famous detectives either.
Well, he's not famous. His dad is famous as a detective story novelist. And I guess his mom is a model because, like, everybody's mom is a model back in the 90s and 80s.
Just like every middle schooler is a model in manga these days.
Yes. Yeah, it was their mom back then. Now they're just a model. So his girlfriend is like, he constantly says stuff like way out of pocket, like, hey, you know, remember this thing that we did? And she's like, what are you talking about? He's like, that my older brother told me about one time. And she's like, oh, okay.
Does she think that he's the younger brother of her boyfriend? Or does...
I am not clear. It's just something that he talks about.
There's so much stuff that you don't know. Okay, go on. All right, who cares?
Yes,
go on.
There's a lot of weird shit involved in Conan. It has been running since the early 90s. There are like 1,000 episodes of Conan. So a lot of this ground has been covered. I kind of hope she does find out at some point, but I guess it's a while before I'll get there. In this particular Conan... and this is relevant because Baker Street, etc., lots of Sherlock Holmes references. Conan does accidentally name himself because, like, he basically does the usual suspects thing. Like, he's standing next to a bookcase and he looks over and there's a Sherlock Holmes book by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, and he's just like, I'm Conan. My name's Conan.
All right.
So that's why he's called Conan.
All right, sure. All right, fine.
Now that brings us up to date. Here we go. In movie 6, which I have to say I chose because a lot of Conan fans seem to think this is one of the best ones. I hope that's not true, but again, we'll find out.
Yeah, all right.
Conan is attending the launch of a new VR video game, which, let's see, when was this movie released? 2002. In 2002 was pictured as a big egg that you get in that hijacks your brain.
I mean,
due to shenanigans, Conan manages to get into one of the eggs, wherein he discovers a rogue AI has taken over the video game VR launch and is threatening to butcher every child involved if somebody doesn't solve the mystery inside. So a good thing our man-child has managed to smuggle himself on board, because the rest of these kids, they're not up to it.
So does this count as do you think this counts as like a death game scenario?
It is sort of a death game. The thing that kind of prevents itself from being a death game is that the kids are not in competition with each other.
No, it's just Conan. He's trying to save the kids.
Conan is trying to save the kids by solving the mystery, and in typical anime detective fashion, the case is revealed to us to be solving the mystery of Jack the Ripper. Jack the Ripper, of course, being something that anime is obsessed with to a very unhealthy degree.
I've noticed that as well. I'm not sure where it comes from. There's a lot of serial killers to take your pick from out there. Why center in on him?
Because he's unsolved. He's the unsolved serial killer case.
Yeah, I guess.
Of ye olde London. And remember, they are real weirdos about the UK and Europe.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say, is that I think more than anything, it's the fact that it's probably the most... It's from ye olde London type thing, and they love that shit. London.
Yes. So they've set this game up about trying to discover who... Jack the Ripper is, which is, again, completely futile because nobody knows who Jack the Ripper is. They never solved that one.
He was the Queen's doctor.
Yeah, sure.
Just saying.
Yeah, and he was killing women because his mom abandoned him, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. Listen, I read the Alan Moore book, okay? So I pretty much know what happened.
Yeah, he killed women because he was the illegitimate son of a lord. And his mom was just a prostitute.
And he talked a lot of shit about Superman.
Yeah, and he hated Superman.
Yeah.
In this version, Jack the Ripper exists within the same universe as Sherlock Holmes for some reason. Again, this is insane bullshit. Jack the Ripper never made an appearance in any Sherlock Holmes story. And Sir Arthur Conan Doyle was not interested in serial killers to begin with. That was not his bag at all.
No, he likes complex mental structures for his mysteries, right?
He likes locked door mysteries, locked room mysteries. He likes very convoluted murder plots. He likes robberies that are seemingly impossible. He likes that kind of shit. He likes political machinations, not serial killers. There's not a lot of Sherlock Holmes stories about people just indiscriminately murdering. So, but this is a very popular thing for anime to mishmash together. Basically, they have been kind of conflated. And also, Sherlock Holmes is always hot in anime, which is a really weird thing.
You don't think that he's hot in the books?
He is definitely not hot. He is a weird, grotesque little golem-esque creature.
Yeah, but he knows kung fu. They say that about him.
He does not know kung fu.
Yes, he does.
He does not know kung fu. He barely knows anything. I mean, he was so oblivious to the entire world in the first book. Conan Doyle had to retcon huge amounts of his character to make him an active member of society. But yeah, so unfortunately for Conan, it turns out that Sherlock is out of town on business during this game. So he's pretty screwed. Again, calling into question the involvement of Sherlock Holmes to begin with. Why even bring him up then?
Wait, hold on. This is all in a VR simulation, though, right?
Yes.
So, I'm confused. Is this supposed to be a full-on one-to-one sim segment of London where everything plays out as it would have Like I'm just so confused on the nature of all of this.
It is a completely virtualized London, indistinguishable from the real thing. Like a perfect simulation.
So then where the fuck did digital Sherlock Holmes go on vacation to?
He fucked off to do some other Oh, actually, you know what? Conan is such a Sherlock Holmes fan. He like puts the pieces together at some point and determines that they are out of town solving the Hounds of Baskerville case. That's what it is.
Okay, actually, that's a pretty good tie-in. I take it back.
You like that one?
Yeah.
Nevertheless, the children do break into Sherlock Holmes's house. He goes into the apartments and steals Sherlock Holmes's gun. You know, the gun he owned.
I mean, Sherlock Holmes did own a gun, though.
No, Watson owned a gun. Sherlock Holmes did not own a gun. Watson was famously the trigger man. He was blasted.
I don't have stuff to cite right now, but I'm going to come back at you, and I'm going to... Dude, Sherlock definitely had his own gun. I am so certain of that.
Yeah, Watson gave it to him when Sherlock Holmes marries Irina. Yeah. Also, that is another thing, is like in anime, they very much ignore a lot of the Sherlock characterization, like how he's basically an incredible misogynist. So they're constantly talking about how he's in love with Irina, the one woman who ever bested him.
Well, okay.
But he's not. He's not in love with her. No.
Sherlock in anime.
Yes.
It is not based on Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's Sherlock Holmes character from the stories. It is based on the concept of Sherlock Holmes, which at that point can be applied to whatever you want, right? That's why he's a little boy in this
Literally anything. Yes. And I don't blame them too much, because obviously over the years, this has happened in every other medium as well. Famously, we have the bullshit Sherlock Holmes BBC show that was incredibly bad.
It's bad.
I think we've had the Robert Downey Jr. Were there two of those?
There were two of them, yeah. Oh, yeah. Big time.
Truly awful. That was an attempt at a sexy Sherlock Holmes. Just does not work.
That one didn't discombobulate you?
Discombobulate. We've had funny Sherlock Holmes. We've had gender-swapped Sherlock Holmes. We had Sherlock Holmes where Watson was a woman. An Asian woman. We've had Sherlock Holmes where...
Her name's Lucy Liu. She was really famous for a long time.
Yes. We've had Dr. Sherlock Holmes. We've had Sherlock Holmes of every color and stripe. So this is not contained within the anime world, but they seem to have a very unique grasp on Holmes.
Sherlock Holmes is a guy who solves mysteries and has a funny hat and smokes a big curvy pipe.
No, he doesn't even smoke that often in anime. Like, they kind of censor that part of him.
Really?
And he definitely doesn't do drugs.
Well, I think most interpretations of the character, save recent ones, kind of leave out the cocaine abuse.
Yeah, well, hey.
And the opium. And the laudanum.
House was all about how he was fucking like popping constantly.
They were making a cheeky point of it. Like, we're doing a thing because nobody ever talks about the
Benedict Cumberbatch should have definitely been like huffing paint the entire time. That would have really picked up that series.
No, instead Russell T Davies took the brave stance of substituting vague autism for the drug addict aspect.
Yeah, good job. That's really deepened the character.
People seem to love that.
That's great.
I'm not kidding. People seem to love that.
For a while, I think people came to their senses. Anyway, this is a really strange movie. This is very strange. Lots of bizarre Sherlock Holmes references. Like I said, they do a really strange summary of the Jack the Ripper killings, which culminates in actually catching Jack the Ripper, who is a cross-dresser in this version, which is great. Good job, guys. That's cool.
Somebody watched Silence of the Lambs, got some inspiration.
Yeah, it kind of ends up that way. Also, Jack the Ripper turns out to be an orphan that Moriarty took in and turned into a super murderer.
Awesome.
So that's weird. That's a weird thing.
No, that's a very funny joke for him to play on Sherlock.
Yeah. There's a great structure in this movie, though, where we have little Conan solving the mystery inside the VR world, and his dad is solving the mystery of the AI outside of the game. So we have kind of this parallel detective structure that runs throughout the entire movie, which is really good. I found that to be like great.
That's kind of neat.
Yeah. For 2002, it manages to really capture like the 90s, early 90s feel, which is cool to see. It's got that kind of retro feel to it, which is great.
I mean, that's my favorite thing. It's something about the matte colors and the way shadows were animated back then.
Yeah.
In the full cell era.
Yeah. Everything's very pointy too. Like everything's very sharp. It looks very sharp. All the edges are like perfect 90 degrees for some reason.
And like the super bright white light reflections on everything. Yeah. I love that shit.
Yeah. I'm very interested to get eventually to the modern movies and see how they've kind of like updated that style, because I feel like sometimes it doesn't translate very well when they try to update these classic manga. They tend to soften everything, which I don't think is a great choice.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's just an issue with digital animation that I feel can only be solved by time and budget, right?
Yeah. Well, if anybody gets the budget, I mean, seriously, Conan is a massive force. I mean, I really think Conan is up there with like One Piece and Doraemon as like a cultural juggernaut.
Is this like a TV movie or is this a theatrical release? Obviously, theatrical releases get more attention and are going to look better.
I'm pretty sure this was a theatrical release. I mean, not in America, obviously, because 2002, it's not great. But yeah, in Japan, these get theatrical releases, and especially now. I mean, these movies are huge. They continue to crank them out.
Yeah, in 2002, we were still coming fresh off 9/11. We weren't ready.
Yeah. I think like another movie came out just recently too, which is maybe what inspired this.
Oh yeah, no, there definitely was. I saw it was in theaters when I was in Japan in March.
Oh yeah,
big in Osaka. That's what I'll say.
They love child detectives in Osaka. That's a big thing I know about them.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah, definitely. That's one of the true ones. So this is part of a series I want to pick up, of going back and filling in that old back catalog. I'm going to do Conan for a while. I know eventually I'm going to get to like Legend of the Galactic Heroes, which is a big blind spot for me. Some of the old Osamu Tezuka stuff, I definitely need to like fill in those holes. I started with like Dororo, and I'm working my way through those as well. So yeah, we need to talk about that. But like, you should pick some out too. I know you've got plenty of black spots that you can work through.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a lot out there I haven't seen.
Anything come to mind?
I've always wanted to revisit an older, I wouldn't call it seinen, but it's like adjacent to Legend of the Galactic Heroes, that kind of thing. I think it was called Ronin Warriors. Does that sound familiar to you?
Ronin Warriors. It's a very generic name.
It is a very generic name,
bell.
But it was kind of like a Legend of the Galactic Warriors or Saint Seiya type situation, but with in Saint Seiya's case, instead of like Greek mythology, it's all based around Shinto mythology and samurai aesthetic. It was cool. I remember catching a few episodes disjointed kind of here and there on Toonami, but I was never able to follow it from the start for like a full through. So I'd like to visit that. I'd have to go back and do some research, but there's definitely some blind spots in my past that need some filling in.
Yeah. So we're gonna pick a couple of those. I know I'm definitely gonna be going back and watching like the old City Hunter movies.
Yeah, City Hunter was
at some point.
Yeah,
Cat's Eye, Dirty Pair, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going that far back, there's lots of older like OVA stuff that I wouldn't mind going back and revisiting, stuff that I never saw. Like
yeah, sure.
Dragon's Egg or something like that.
Dragon's Egg?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember, what was it called? There was one where the art was very...
You talking about Dragon Half?
No, not Dragon Half, although I wouldn't mind going back and rewatching that one too.
The Fantasy Dirty Pair.
No, this one had very like Mobius inspired art.
You talking about Tenchi no Tamago, Angel's Egg?
Maybe I am thinking of that, although probably not. I don't know. I'll think of it.
Time to buckle down and watch all those old Lupins.
All the old Lupin, that's a good one.
All the old Lupins.
All right, you want to take a break?
Yeah, let's take a break. You can do a little research, pick out some stuff you want to watch.
All right. Oh my gosh, we're back. Anime Death Spiral, back from all of those ads. Let's talk about some more anime. You have something special for me.
Well, it would have been more special, but you jumped the gun. I did not anticipate your enthusiasm for the season's new isekai.
Listen, I have a New Year's resolution. I'm going to be on top of things. I'm going to be on top of my life. So I had to get out of the game here.
I feel like diving headfirst into new isekai is basically the opposite of getting a hold of your life, but sure.
Oh, wait, no, you're right. My life is in shambles.
Yeah, it's falling apart, clearly. But what I wanted to return to, since it's a new season, I want to return to something we did before. Because, of course, it would be too boring to just say, hey, Nate, you got to check in with these terrible shows and report back. Though it seems like, at this point, you're willing to just do that on your own, which I do find increasingly concerning. But you know what? If we turn it into a game, it's kind of fun and not sad. So I've put together...
I'm confused on whether or not you want me to watch the shows.
I mean, I want you to watch the shows, but I don't want you to want to watch the shows. That's the part that really makes me a little disturbed.
It's really a subtle line you want me to straddle there.
Yes, exactly. I think it's pretty self-evident why. So I've put together, I combed through the new season and pulled out the various isekai. There's about 9 that I managed to pull out, not including the one we talked about earlier that Nate spoiled.
Whoops. Sorry.
And I've created 3 sets of 3 isekai and 1 fake isekai. And I'm just going to read the description instead of the titles, and Nate is going to have to guess which one is the fake one.
All right, I'm up for it. I'm up for the challenge, boss.
Yes, and for each wrong guess he makes, he's going to have to watch the show.
Oh, no.
Yes, I am really going to enforce it this time. He really tries to shirk his responsibilities, but I'm going to keep on him for this.
I'd just rather watch my own trash, okay?
Well, you shouldn't have been on a podcast then. Okay, ready? Here's what we're going to do.
That's what my parents said.
Random order, I'm going to read 4 descriptions of isekai anime.
Okay. Now, am I allowed to ask any follow-up questions about these, or do I have to go based solely off the information that you're going to give me here?
You feel free to ask. I might not answer, but you could ask if you want.
All right. Sounds good.
All right, set number 1. Are you ready?
Yeah, hit me.
Our first isekai. An ordinary walk home from school turns into an epic journey for Yusato. After suddenly being dropped into another world with 2 fellow students, Yusato learns he was summoned there by accident. But things turn around when he discovers a unique aptitude for healing magic. Now he trains beyond human limitations using his healing abilities to gain absurd strength and unrivaled stamina. That's the first isekai.
Okay.
Second isekai. Sato is a high school boy in love with his best friend, Hime. God damn. An unearthly beauty from another realm. So when she moves back to her home world to get married, Sato doesn't think twice. He follows her and crashes the wedding. Then, after a kiss from Hime, he suddenly becomes the new groom. But here, Hime is a ring princess, and her husband is destined to be the ring king, a hero of power. Okay. Third isekai. Starry skies mark the dawn of new adventures. Kenji has no friends at school, where he spends his days dreaming of traveling to new worlds, until one day a mysterious transfer student asks him if he really wants to leave his peaceful life behind. Before he can answer, Kenji finds himself pushing the student out of the way of a falling box fan, and when he wakes up, he is left of our world behind. An epic quest in a world of star power begins for Kenji in the new world filled with the wonder and adventure.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly what was said there. That sounds like the description of a fake video game they would give in a movie. You know, like the title equivalent of 555 5555.
Yes. I will say, just as a warning, I do suspect that some of these were machine translated, so apologies if they don't always make 100% sense.
I mean, we're going to run into it eventually, right? The AI-generated isekai.
Oh, for sure. They already exist. Those light novel...
They're just being churned out, like...
Yeah, they're being written by Markov chain generators. Okay, fourth isekai in this set.
All right.
Ready?
Yeah.
Awakening to absolute chaos and carnage while on a school trip, Yogiri Takato discovers that everyone in his class has been transported to the other world. He has somehow managed to sleep through the ordeal himself, missing out on, quote-unquote, the gift, powers bestowed upon others by a mysterious sage who appeared to transport them. Even worse, he and another classmate were ruthlessly abandoned by friends, left as bait to distract a dragon. Although not terribly bothered by the thought of dying, he reluctantly decides to protect his lone companion. After all, a lowly level 1000 monster doesn't stand a chance against his secret power to invoke instant death with a single thought.
Okay. All right.
That's 4.
So I'm trying to pick out the fake one, right?
Yes.
Okay. Shit. This is harder than I thought it was going to be. Okay, well, it's either the second or third one that you read out, because I definitely recognize the first two. I'm going to say that one's the fake one. The starry eyes one, starry skies.
Okay. All right. You got it. Yes. That's the fake one.
Damn. All right. Whew. All right.
Wow. All right. One set down. Got to up my game for this next one. Let's see here. All right. Forb nor Isekai. Oh, wait. You ready for the first one?
Yeah. No. Round 2.
I'm just going to get this one out of the way because I think you already know. The story centers around Yoshizo Yukawa, a major hot springs fan who finds hidden springs to revitalize the economy of a local area. However, he dies after falling off a cliff and is transported to another world, thanks to a deity. What? Thanks to a deity of harvest.
A dietitian.
A deity of harvest at a small shrine in the rocks. Together with Inari's attendant princess, Mayudama, he continues searching for storied hot springs, only this time in the other world. Along the way, he ends up naked in hot springs with furry-eared girls and elven girls.
Okay. All right.
Okay. You making notes so I don't have to repeat them?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. No, totally. Sure. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay. This is... I'm not sure if I should change the name here. Okay, whatever. Number 2. Eumelia Dolkness is your run-of-the-mill villainess in an Otome RPG. Except for the fact that she is also secretly an overpowered hidden boss. But Eumelia wasn't always Eumelia, you see. In her past life, she was nothing more than an introverted college student and gamer. So when she realizes she's been reincarnated as the hidden boss, she is determined to steer clear of protagonists and avoid her demise. All she wants is a quiet life. Too bad, because when her gamer instincts kick in, Eumelia just can't ignore her awesome stats. A girl has got to grind. Yeah.
All right. Well, I know that one's got to be real because you did not come up with that tagline.
A girl's got to grind.
Okay. All right. Hit me.
This is the real hard part is I really can't. I do not have the skills to come up with something like a girl's got to grind. Okay. It's been over a decade since the appearances of gates, quote unquote, gates, the paths that connect our world to another world. Since then, humans have awakened to powers. We call them powers, individuals, hunters. Hunters make their living by using powers to conquer dungeons. In the world of tough customers, the low-ranked hunter, Jinwoo, is known as the weakest hunter. One day, Jinwoo gets fatally injured when he runs into high-rank double dungeon. Just then, a mysterious quest window appears in front of him. On the verge of death, Jinwoo decides to accept the quest and levels up. While the others aren't? Okay, that was number 3.
Okay, all right.
Number 4. In the past, certain people marked by fate find themselves slipping through cracks in our reality and discovering the other world. Thus, Hiromi, an unassuming student destined to the life of an ordinary shrine priest, one day discovers one of the cracks behind a scroll in his father's secret chambers. After slipping through, he finds his ancient powers as an otherworlder, having awakened, giving him powerful new abilities that mark him as the one destined to remake this epic fantasy world. That's number 4.
Okay, so Hot Springs, villainous, poorly translated Chinese description.
Weakest hunter.
Yeah, weakest hunter and
another worlder.
Another worlder. Is it the villainous one?
No.
Ah,
Shit. I wish I had come up with the name Eumelia Dolkness. God damn it, I wish I had come up with that myself. No. That is called Villainous Level 99. I may be the hidden boss, but I'm not the Demon Lord.
Then what?
So write that down. You're going to have to give us a report on Villainous Level 99.
Okay, which was the fake one?
It was number 4, the Otherworlder.
Damn. Okay, all right.
Okay, ready?
Yep, all right, round 3. Go.
The final set. 4 Isekai remain. These are all fake, by the way. All right, number 1. Yuko, an average otaku gamer who has stopped attending school due to bullying he has received because of his frailness. But on the fateful day, while following the mysterious whispers, he is struck by the passing truck and awakes in his favorite game. A world of elves and humans fighting an endless war is upset by the appearance of the strongest warrior. Yuko's gaming skills now come to help to bring peace upon the other world by using the ultimate cheat ability that allows him to max out approval rank for factions, making many new allies, which is the key to the fate of the saving of the world of the factions. What the fuck?
Okay, so he got reincarnated as a charisma build.
I guess so. Max Char, baby. Number 2. Sasaki is a middle-aged office worker living in Japan, feeling drained by the vapid corporate world he leads. He heads to the pet shop in search of a new companion. There he finds an adorable bird named Peepers, and takes him home. But Sasaki quickly learns that Peeps isn't your average bird. He is a powerful mage from another world. Together, they embark on a magical adventure filled with swords and sorcery.
Bird mage, all right.
Bird mage. All right, number 3.
Uh-huh.
Wealthy heiress Katerina Clays is hit in the head with a rock. What? And recovers the memories of her past life. It turns out, as it is, the world that she lives in is the world of the game, the Fortune Lover, an otome game she was obsessed with in her past life. But she's been cast as the villainess. who tries to foil the protagonist's romances. The good ending game has for Katerina is exile, and for the worst, death. She'll have to find a way to avoid triggering the flags of doom and make her own happy future. The misunderstandings-based is screwball love comedy now begins.
What's the range from when you pulled all of these isekai series?
What do you mean?
Like, are these all new releases? What am I looking at here?
Yes, these are all from this season. These are all
coming up from this season.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I want to say it's unlikely that there's two villainous isekai going on at the same time, but what do I know?
Villainous is insanely popular.
Go on. Give me the last one. Go on.
Everybody loves Villainous. What are you talking about? Okay, number 4. After high school graduation, Yuki Wakura realizes it's been 5 years since his sister's disappearance during a Mato disaster. Throughout Japan, mysterious gates have opened to a dimension called Mato, a demonic metropolis filled with disastrous monsters known as Shuki that threaten the safety of humans. However, a new hope arose as the discovery of a Mato fruit that grants abilities exclusively to women allowed them to fight against Shuki. When Yuki suddenly finds himself in Mato, he's unable to escape on his own, but a girl in a militia outfit appears and protects him. Now, in a life or death situation, Kyoukai takes the opportunity to find out the true potential of her superpower by using Yuki. In order to defeat the Shuki, he has to become her slave.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Oh, fuck.
I'm pretty sure I know that one is real. Because you are you're excited for that one. All right, what do we got? Let me think here.
Yes, excited for sure.
My reasoning stands. I think that it is unlikely for there to be two separate villainous isekai going on at the same time in the same season. So I'm gonna guess that one. I think that one is the fake in this set.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Damn, I got you twice.
God damn it. All right.
That one is real. The wealthy heiress Katerina Clays. She hits her head with a rock. Okay, now make a note. That one is called My Next Life as a Villainess, all routes lead to doom.
I'm writing this down, Jerry.
Write it down.
Not villainess. I got to remember that one.
Villainess.
Okay, and what was the other one? I'm 99 level something.
Villainous level 99, I may be the hidden boss, but I'm not the demon lord. This is great. We're going to get you real deep into villainous lore.
You know what? I'll be interested to see where it goes. I'm familiar with the obviously disgusting male-oriented isekai genre so far. Let's see where these ones go. Because what was the other one that I watched? I'm the villainess, and I fell in love with the princess or something like that. That one was funny.
No, I'm in love with the villainess.
Yeah, oh yeah. No, she got isekai. She's in love with the villain.
Yeah, she's the protagonist.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we've got that down.
Wow. Should I give the names of the other ones just to correspond?
Well, okay, let me see what I remember. What was the localized name of that last one you read? Was it Slave Soldier or something like that?
No, that's the real name.
That's the real name.
Yeah, the localized name is Chained Soldier.
Chained Soldier.
But it is Mato Seihei no Slave.
And then I had previously already talked about the Hot Springs Isekai and one of the other ones that I saw in there.
That one's just straight up called Isekai Onsen Paradise.
Yep. And let me guess, what was it? You're using healing magic wrong or something like that?
That one is called The Wrong Way to Use Healing Magic.
Yeah. Okay. Those are the ones that instantly stood out to me. What were the others?
The one about the guy breaking up the chick's wedding and cucking the groom is called Tales of Wedding Rings. That's one. That's the one I read like the first chapter of and got super pissed that it was secretly an isekai the whole time.
Don't you hate it when that happens, when they slip in?
I really hate
when
it.
they slip you an isekai in your drink when you're not looking.
It's disgusting, and it really needs to be illegal. The one about the guy who just straight up can cast instant death for some reason. It was called My Instant Death Ability is So Overpowered, No One in This Other World Stands a Chance Against Me, which frankly is really concerning. That is not good. That does not make you sound like the good guy.
Yeah, no, that makes you sound kind of like the Demon Lord, right?
Yeah, you would be the Demon Lord at that point. Like, that is really fucked up, my dude.
Well,
also, shouldn't instant death have a really low chance of success?
I know. There has to be an anime out there, an isekai, right, where the protagonist, their power, their skill is just that they get to bring a gun with them into like a fantasy world. That has to exist, right?
Well, the sequel to Sword Art Online is all about them bringing guns into Sword Art Online.
That's kind of what I'm talking about, but it's like how people always joke like, oh, Harry Potter, they need to cast a death spell. Why don't they just get guns?
It's that stupid fucking thing about the platoon of Marines going back to ancient Rome.
Exactly, yeah.
Yes. It's very dumb. The Korean one about Jinwoo, the weakest hunter, that's solo leveling, obviously, one of the biggest.
I was so close to picking that one because I thought that you made up the bad translation bit as a way to throw me off.
Weakest hunter?
Yeah.
Known as weakest hunter. It's actually weakest hunter of all mankind, which I thought actually sounded too fake, so I left that part off.
You should have left it in there. You totally would have fooled me.
How do they know of all mankind? That's really cruel to just call somebody the weakest guy in the world.
Well, weakest hunter of all mankind, in a roundabout way, kind of sounds like you're calling somebody the worst bounty hunter ever.
Yeah. I truly hate solo leveling. I despise solo leveling, so that'll be fun. Yeah, and then the other one was just straight up called Sasaki and Peeps. It's a buddy cop comedy about a dude and his magic bird. It's bizarre.
I was also pretty close to picking that one. That one sounded fake too.
It does sound fake, but also like if I told you about the one about the buddy cop with the grizzled detective who's trying to avenge his partner's death. By partnering up with the fairy from another world. Like, that sounds fake too, right?
I was about to say, that sounds like a spinoff of that Will Smith movie, Bright.
Bright, yes. Jesus Christ. I mean, it is basically Bright, yeah.
And we all know how well that went over.
Yeah, and it took 2 episodes of that. I watched some of it. I took 2 episodes to get to the extraordinarily racist depiction of the Mexican gang member.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Great. Cool, guys.
Unfortunate. All right. Are we done?
That wraps up our Isekai Bingo. We've got two out of the 3 sets. I'm excited to hear your report.
I will come back with these, and let's be honest, I'm probably going to watch more than these 2 because I am a little piggy that likes to roll around in the trash.
Well, don't destroy the premise before we've even done it. I'm dreading you coming back and being like, I like them now. I actually like Isekai now.
Yeah, no, actually, I'm really cool with it. I think it's awesome, and I think more people should watch Isekai. I'm going all in on it. You're right.
All right. Well, in the meantime, I guess I'll practice writing my fake Isekai descriptions and try to get better at it for the next time. I'll throw in more stupid details like the Ring King. Or, I don't know, absurd strength and unrivaled stamina, or a level 1000 monster. I should have really sprinkled some more in there to make it sound more realistic.
Here's what I think you should be doing, is that you should be writing your own descriptions for all of these, instead of just the fake ones.
I tried that, I think, in one of the other ones I did, but I felt like cheating. It felt like cheating. But maybe next time I'll do it.
Well, the point isn't to be fair. You don't need to worry about being fair.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, in that case, then yes, I will absolutely mangle the shit out of it next time we do this.
All right. I'm done. I don't want to think about anime anymore. Let's get out of here.
Okay. Yes. Handsome and beautiful listeners, I'm sorry to subject you to more isekai after we've talked about hating it so much.
Hey,
but
listen, go do the stuff, like, subscribe, YouTube.
Yeah.
We're on Blue Sky occasionally. I upload the TikToks. I'm working on one. I'm going to upload.
How many TikToks are you going to put out this week, Nate?
I am hoping to put out at least 2 or 3.
Okay, good.
They'll be out there.
Great.
Please, handsome and beautiful listener, go do the stuff. We would love that.
All right. Till next time. Bye.
I haven't seen Fruits Basket again because of the misogyny and the whatnot.